Awesome. Welcome everybody to our Monday Night New Zealand training. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Bridget and I am in Mount Maunganui. So I'm staring at Alex. I'm just gonna make myself, sorry. There we go. Okay, cool. So if I've been in this business, a little bit about me, for 6.5 years now, a little bit about my story. I came into this as a customer and was not looking for a business at all. Had amazing results, and I gave beautiful lady who's not in the business anymore, every like 10 customers, and she's like, "You've got to do this as a business." And I was like, "No, no, I don't have time." And she sent me a event. She's like, "Just have a look." And I had a look, and actually, she followed me up and said, "Oh, love to answer any questions you have." And I said, "Oh shit, I haven't actually watched it yet. So if no one watches the event, don't worry." And then I quickly watched it, and I got on a call with Ange Power, who pretty much made me feel like I was in a job interview and I couldn't do this. And me being my arrogant self said, "Well, I'm going to do it because you're pretty much telling me that I can't." So that was the reason I said yes. I didn't have any vision for what this could be at all. It was just a way I wanted to help people feel as good and amazing as I did. So that's all it was for a very long time. I had so many customers. I've always found customers very, very easy. And yeah, and then I got it to a stage where I had a catering business in the summer, and I was able to take the winters off and spend time with my daughter, which was perfect. I didn't have to worry about trying to find weddings and jobs in the winter, which was quite frustrating as a caterer. So that was an amazing lifestyle. And then my vision just started to grow, and I got pregnant with a child that we didn't think we were going to have. And I said to myself, I'm not going to work as a caterer with a newborn again. And I had this option this time. So I sold my catering business and I went into this full time. And now this is what I do from home around my boy. There's definitely been a lot of moments on the way that I've had to learn a lot of things. And one of them was that I always told myself that customers were easy and team were hard. And that was my story forever. And that was just this rolling like thing that went on in my head and on and on and on. And I didn't even realize that I was doing it until last year when we had this incentive trip to Port Douglas. And I really had to kind of face up to what was my running commentary that was holding me back. And that's what I worked out at what it was. And so I started journaling, and every morning I started changing that narrative. And that month of January that I did that work, I brought on 17. So I think there's a huge, huge thing to say about your mindset in this business and that running commentary that's in your head. And I would encourage you all to fall in love with journaling, even if it's just the fact of writing down all the crap things that you're feeling that day, and then getting in the habit of reframing that to a positive, because then you'll find that those stories don't go away. They're always there. I still have them all the time. And especially at the moment, me and Alex have been kind of accountability buddies running to Uluru. And we've both got these stories going on in our heads every day. But we help each other out. And I'm just very good at rewriting that story now. So I'm not telling you that it's going to go away, but I want you to get better at catching yourself out and telling yourself, stop it, and changing that story as you go. So that was way off topic what I was going to share anyway, but that just came out. So I wanted to share tonight about having non-negotiables and just getting really clear on why you're here. Because I think I'm sorry if I swear quite a bit, but when the shit gets real and hard, is your why strong enough for you to still want to do the work? So like that is one thing that I really want you to really nail down on, because this business is not hard. I mean, well, it's the work itself like is mundane and easy, but I guess it's hard to stay committed and to have that vision. And a lot of time you're going to be doing the work, and you're not going to see results for 3 months. And so it's just being really clear on why you're doing what you're doing. So every day when you get up, it's something that you do. It's a non-negotiable. You sit down, you treat it like a business. And if you treat it like a business, it will start to turn you around and pay you like one. If you treat it like a hobby, it's going to be a very expensive hobby. So I think it's a shame sometimes that it's so cheap to join. Because if you forked out $150,000 for this, you'd probably treat it a lot different. And I think a lot of us, myself included, I definitely haven't treated it like a business the whole time I've been here. So yeah, that's right, Alex. You don't expect instant gratification. Everything takes time to build. If it was a catering company that I was building from scratch, that took time to build, So just be patient and do the do. But I have a cool video that I want to share with you, a couple of videos tonight, and this one is kind of about going in all in. So the beautiful Sandy, we're in an NMD chat, shared this really cool thing in our chat today. If you're in there, you would have read it, but it was about are you 100% committed? So like 99% committed versus 100% committed. There's a huge difference. And the way she explained it in there was really cool. So like imagine if the person that you're madly in love with one day like brings out this beautiful ring and goes on one knee to propose to you and says, I'm 99.9% sure that I want to marry you. Like, are you going to say, oh, cool, yeah, let's get married? Or are you going to concentrate on that 1% of negativity that they're not quite sure? So if you look at it like that 1% will always keep coming up, So if you're not 100% committed to this, you're only 99.9%, that 1% is going to win every time. So, yeah, how can you be 100% certain? They say that like being 100% certain something is super sexy. Like people are attracted to that. They're like, you're like, this is where I'm going here. If you want to come with me, come with me. If not, see you later. That people are attracted to that, So I want you to be 100% certain on what you're doing and why you're doing it, and put that out. And another thing she said in there, if you think of like 1 degree in temperature, makes a huge difference. It's a difference between like boiling water and hot water. Boiling water can run a steam engine, hot water's not going to push it anywhere. So there's a huge difference in that little degree. So I want you to think tonight, are you 100% committed to this? Like, are you like, right, I'm going to be here in 2 years, in 5 years, this is what I want to do. I'm going to do what it takes to build this business so I can have a recurring passive income for the rest of my life, So think about what do you need to do to change that 99.9% to 100. And this is a really cool video that I'm going to try and be really flash and share screen with you. Sometimes it doesn't work, see? Here we go. Oh, look, Rach is a picture of you. Hang on, shared screen. What are we going to do? Advanced. Computer audio. Yeah. Why does it always do that? Bear with me, sorry. Like I do this and then like as soon as we're recording, I always fail to share stuff. Can you see my screen yet?
Not yet.
No, okay, cool. 1 second. Where is it? Screen. Share. You see it now?
Looks like it's loading.
Okay. Oh, hang on. Is that working? Yes, no?
The sound isn't, but
okay,
we can
wait.
see.
Sorry. This work. There's no point listening to it without sound. Okay. Bastard. Can you still see my screen though?
Is for losers. Right?
It's saying that you're sharing the computer sound at the moment.
When you look at life from a
Oh, and you can't hear it.
And now we can hear it, but we can't see it and hear it.
Oh my God, why? Okay, all right, it's so organized tonight, and look what happens.
But probably listening to it without looking at it's better than the other
Okay,
way
let's
around.
do
Like
that.
we could
Okay.
still listen to the audio. I'm sure that's
Oh, no,
fine.
let me
You turn it
share
up a bit.
both. It's so weird. Uh-huh. Hang on. Oh, wait. Well, let me just try one more thing. Like that. No. Now, can you see screen? Yep. And
Yeah,
can you hear
The
too?
only limit to your impact
yeah,
is your
good to go.
and your commitment. The fence is for losers. Right? That's a harsh way to put it, but that's the reality. Is things get better when you look at life from a binary standpoint. You either want it or you don't. And if you want it, why wouldn't you go all in? If you don't, why would you touch it? I can't tell you how many times I've been, one toe in the water, and it's like, why? Do you want this or not? First time I heard this, freshman year in college. And it was one of those things where I always thought I worked hard. I always kind of jumped into what I was doing, and I wanted to get good grades, and I invested in what I did. But I realized that I didn't grasp what it meant. And I walk up to the student center, and I'm looking around, and there's a flyer, and it says Holy Cross D1 Men's Rowing. I'm like, yes, this is perfect. I can make friends with like-minded people, stay in shape. This is amazing. And I go up, and there are 73 people there, walk-ons. And what I didn't realize at the time was that they don't make cuts. You either quit or you don't. In senior year, when we graduated, 4 walk-ons were left. And we always joke about it because it's not like we were far more talented or we had this superior skill set. We just committed to the process. We committed to the ups and the downs and the trials and the tribulations and the difficulty. One of my first practices, you guys know what a rowing machine is? The thing in the gym, you sit down, you pull. Pretty straightforward. You pull, it tells you exactly how hard you pull. That's it. And so I'm sitting there, we're doing 5 sprints, 2,000-meter sprints. And I'm suffering, just going a world of hurt. And after the second one, I get up and I go to the bathroom, I'm throwing up, I have a headache, I'm dizzy, and just feeling so sorry for myself. I'd never experienced anything like that before. This is all new to me. And eventually I get it together and I go down, I sit on the erg, feeling like a hero. It's like, all right, I'm back. And I sit down, grab the thing, and the coach walks up next to me. He goes, it's Eddie, right? Yeah, it's Eddie. He goes, yeah, that score won't cut it. And walks away. And that was not a nice thing to hear, because I always associated suffering with paying the price, right? How could I be going through that type of punishment and have someone respond that way, right? So we start the piece, and now I'm like, I have something to prove, and I'm just ripping the thing as hard as I can, and just not in a good place. And he comes up again, I'm like, all right, good, right? Now he understands. He goes, look, Eddie, I don't know what you have to do mentally, I don't know what you have to do physically, but you gotta figure it out. And that's where it occurred to me, showing up isn't enough. Being in pain isn't enough, because the guy from Georgetown you're racing on Saturday, the guy from Northeastern you're racing on Saturday, they hurt too, but they're pulling faster. Like, winning, truly winning, is committing in every single way. It's immersing yourself in something, because if you want to be great, that's what it takes.
So I'll just stop share if we can. I don't know. Here we go. So yeah, so the point of that was that I think a lot of us feel like we're showing up every day, like we feel like we're doing the do, but are you actually doing it? Are you 100% committed to what you're doing? If you look back in the last month and looked at what work you did, how much would someone pay you for the work that you've done? I think a lot of the time, and this is like a thing that I watched with Eric Worre, as he said, like, they say you treat it like a business, but what if you treated it like a job, that you had to show up, that you got fired if you didn't show up every day? Like, we're all very good at going to a job because we're going to get paid for an hour's work, and someone will fire us if we don't turn up. But thing is with network marketing is we come in and we do it and we're like, oh yeah, I'm going to treat it like a business, but you're sitting at home and you've got no one telling you, if you don't do it, we're not going to pay you, or if you don't do it, you're going to fire you. So I think sometimes we just need to hire ourselves like we're in a job and treat it like that. Like if we don't turn up and we don't do the work, then we're going to get fired. If we don't treat it like something that is what it's worth, you know? So yeah, it's just another thing to think of. I know I hear a lot of people say, but I'm doing the work, I'm talking to the people. But if you sat down and recorded what you've actually done for that day, you know, how does that work out in equivalent to like how you would get paid? You know, so it's just something to think about. And there's one more little video that I wanted to show you too that kind of will lead into Joe's going to share around. I know everyone's got a lot going on, right? Everyone's busy, but everyone's got the same amount of time in the day. So I guess it's just how you prioritize that time and to how you make your important things count, you know? So a lot of you may have heard that what I'm going to share with you now about putting your big rocks in first. And I just thought it's another good thing to share visually. It's always good to see it, Delino. I'm not going to be able to do anything, so I've got a big screen. Wait. Let me get the right page first. Go away. Oh. Go. No, go away.
Well, Monday.com is all about flexibility, so you can make it your own. You could choose pre-built layouts for anything.
Okay.
Build your own workflow. You just open a board, you choose the columns you need.
I don't know what's playing. Hang on.
Move them around.
Wait, hang on.
Or filter by what's most important for you. That way you're not always chasing your work. You perfect your
What's
process.
going on?
I gotta show this to Ted. Hey, Ted!
Shut up. Okay. Start again. Can you guys all see it and hear it now? Yeah, okay. Awesome. I'm sure like you've heard of this before, but I love this visual of your big rocks
Time
first.
management, we all have the same amount of time. This is our time. And if we fill it up with all the little stuff that we have that we want to do, this is like spending time on TV and video and just stuff that maybe isn't the most important things in the world, but it's fun to do, little stuff like that. And then these are the other things that are kind of important. We will make sure we get those done. We can put those in and add those to our time. That kind of takes up a little bit more space. And now we've got these big rocks. These are the things that are most important in our life, but we've already started filling up our jar. And now we want to put all the important stuff into our time, but we have a problem because it's not going to fit. But what would happen if we take our big rocks and instead we've got the same amount of rocks, the big rocks, medium rocks, and all the little stuff in life, same amount of time as we had before, but this time we're going to put the big rocks in first. This is the most important stuff to us. We're going to put our big rocks in, and it takes up some time, but we're going to put them in first because they're most important. And then we're going to take the other stuff in life that's also important. I'm going to add that to our schedule. Put those in. And now we're going to fill it up with that other stuff that we really like to do, and we want to have fun. We want to use our time wisely. And as you see, once we put the big rocks in first, all that other stuff, we have time for it. We can make time for those things, and we can get it all in. But we need to decide what are the big rocks and put those in first.
So I'm sure a lot of you have heard that scenario before. Like it's been around for a long time, but I think it relates really well to our business. And I think because most of us, when we start this business, we're time poor. You know, we're starting it because we've got another job, but we want more in our life, or because we've got kids at home and we want to be able to work around our kids. So we're busy. Everyone's got stuff going on. But if we're not including our business as one of our big rocks and putting it in first, there's never going to be room for it. It's always going to end up at the top and it's going to fall off and you're going to run out of time. So you need to prioritize that part of your life. Put in your family, your whatever is your health, your exercise, your well-being, your business, all those big rocks in first, and then all that other stuff can just filter in over the top. But if you're not making your business one of your big rocks, you're never going to find time for it. So I encourage you, if this is one of your biggest things, I don't have time, because that was me. I was working 17-hour days, like literally, like I would, if I had a wedding on, I was up at 5:30 in the morning, and if I'd traveled, I might not get back from that wedding till midnight. Like that's how much I worked when I had a catering business. So if anyone tells me I don't have time, I just go, oh, because I had no time. But I found little pockets in my day to do this because I believed in it, and I believed there was another way. So put your big rocks in first. And I want to bring my beautiful friend Jo on, because she's another person that just decided that she just, she didn't have enough time. So she thought she'd homeschool her kids. So now she's got even less time. So I thought she might want to share with you guys how she makes it work.
Awesome.
So
Thanks,
I'm
Brit.
going to.
I love that after all these years of doing this, none of us are really still that tech savvy.
I know, right?
For some reason, I'm the same. I've had to download Zoom, God knows how many times, because my kids like to delete it off my phone or computers. I don't know. I see lots of new faces on here, so I just wanted to start off by, I suppose, giving a little background of who I am. I've been around for a long time, just like Bridge and Alex. I've been here for 7 years now, and I was like Bridget. I came into this as a customer. I was sick of my kids being sick. We had a pretty incredible result on the products, not just my kids, but my staff as well. And I just, to be honest, I look back now and I think, really glad I did this, because I actually joined when I didn't need this. I can look back and go, I was financially stable. I was married at the time, and my husband was in mining, and we're living in Australia. And it was nice to say I didn't have to worry about money. I never checked the bank account to go do the groceries, anything like that. But the thing is, I had such an amazing thing on the product, and I thought, look, if I could just get my products for free, like I was loving the community, like why not? And I was working part-time as a beauty therapist at the time, and I had massive mum guilt about spending any money on myself. Even though we had lots of money, I didn't want to spend it on myself. It didn't feel right, which I know sounds silly now, but I wanted to be able to pay for things myself and be able to like pay for things for the family. And so having this little side income, I thought I could do this. And I did this like super part-time for 3 years. Like Bridget, I was working part-time as a beauty therapist. I had 3 children then. I was living in Outback, Australia. And I grew a pretty nice business with Juice Plus. Traveled over to America for a conference, got travel around Australia and New Zealand. And my business grew pretty fast, pretty quickly. I was one of those ones like Bridget. I got lots of customers, and it was called something else back then, but essentially senior partner. Had like 40 customers or something ridiculous and no team. And I was like, why would anybody join my team? Like, what's wrong? And in my head, it was like, I had no belief in network marketing. So my kids will probably drown me out. I had no belief in the network marketing, because I'd made probably $300, right? Like in the beginning. And I thought, I went to work in Same when I worked on the mindset stuff. And before I knew it, I just had all this team, because I'd built the belief. Because I was a customer, I had so much belief in the product. And so it was easier to talk about the product. But I was like, oh, yeah, this network marketing thing, it's cool. But I felt like a fraud because I hadn't made a lot of money. And so that's why I had to go do the background work and the mindset work and all the self-development. Obviously, there's so much out there. You can down in a rabbit hole with that things, but like it's just doing that little bit like each day, whether you're reading or listening to a podcast or obviously getting on the trainings. And then I suppose I tell this story to give you guys insight of what's possible in this business. So, you know, like 4 years ago, I had to leave Outback Australia and move back to New Zealand. I had another baby. I've got 4 kids on my own, and I obviously had 10 weeks of sort of moving from Outback Australia, Brisbane, New Zealand, right before that first lockdown 4 years ago. And I obviously couldn't have a job in that time. The government wouldn't help me out, and I literally was like, oh my god, I'm not gonna have any money. And then I realized, oh, I've got that Juice Plus business, and I had created a pretty nice residual income that paid me the whole time, even when I took 6 months off for this business because I just was not in a mental health space that I could work on this. Juice Plus paid me that whole entire time because my customers were still ordering the product. My team was still working. It didn't matter what was going on in my life. My business was still running. Now, long term, I've had to rebuild from that because I had to take personal. But that's the beauty of this business, is that I got it to a point where I was able to step back and focus on myself and my family. And I think there's no job in the world that could ever have done that for me. If I was going, sorry, I'm like suffering from depression and postnatal, you know, anxiety and things, they'd be like, okay, you know, sorry, we're not going to pay you for that. Like, you can go home and work on your mental health, but no one was there to support me, and not just financially and obviously the health benefits, but this community. And like, you know, Bridget's always been my sideline buddy from the beginning, and like lots of my team just were there for us in so many ways. So the community is so amazing. Obviously 4 years on now, as Bridget said, I've made the crazy decision to homeschool my children. So I have been back for 4 years in New Zealand now. When I first got back here, I thought I'll get a job. To be honest, trying to find a job around 4 kids on my own was just ridiculous. I couldn't find anything that worked around there. And to be honest, at the end of the day, it wasn't really worth it financially by putting them to childcare and things. So now I homeschool my 3 younger children. And as Bridget said, like, I know time's a big thing. And over the years, I'm guilty of it too. I've got no time. And then I look at the day and I'm like, what have I actually done with my day? Especially if you are a stay-at-home mum, I feel like I'm like, that's the guiltiest ones, because we can make ourselves busy by just doing stuff, right? You're like, oh, I've got to put that washing on. I've got to vacuum the house. I've got to do something. And it just, before you know it, the day's done. So I know for me, like working on time management's always been a skill that I need to like constantly work on. I get distracted very easily. It's in my nature. Gemini, I'm like, oh, what's that shiny object? No, stay on track. So with homeschooling, I've had to be even more like that because I do have less time in the day now. So for example, like I get up in the morning. I'm lucky my youngest is 5 now. And not that they kind of sleep in now. I don't. I'm still awake super early. So used to being awake from babies over the years, I think. But I get up and I do 30 minutes to an hour in the morning before they wake up. I know it's harder if you've got a job, but if you can set your alarm that extra half an hour earlier, and maybe just do a really quick DMO, like put your post up, or like do some follow-ups, and just setting those alarms. And then for me personally, like my whole day is I homeschool to be with my children. I'm not staying at home on a laptop on my phone all day. That's not the kind of lifestyle I want for my kids. I'm here because I want to be with them. So I do a little bit in the morning, and I wait till after school hours. We don't really do school hours, but I get to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's like they're allowed to have some screen time or go play whatever they want. And so I do an hour of work, and that's why I sit down and focus, go somewhere quiet generally if I can. And then again in the evening, like now, yes, they're running around mental, but they've like had dinner and everything's done. I normally wouldn't work probably right now. I'd wait till later, but like doing half an hour thing. So mine is like, to be honest, I probably do 2 hours a day throughout the day. I could probably definitely do more, but to be honest, like for me, I'm okay with that. And that shows in my business. I could have a bigger business. Do you know what I mean? I could be more successful. But at this stage of my life, this is what I feel like is like a good stage for me to be able to get my business done and be there for my kids, like the lifestyle that I want. So I think like Bridget was saying, like if you're only going to spend 30 minutes on a day on your business, don't expect to be paid like a full-time job. Like you've got to be, it's what you put into it. And I've known that over the 7 years, like there's definitely times that I've stepped back, and it's shown in my business, and you have to be okay with that. I know my biggest one was when I was pregnant with my last baby. He's 5 now. You know, when I was like, I don't know if you had children, and I had really bad insomnia, and I was always hugely pregnant, like massive. I was so uncomfortable. And so I'd be awake a lot at night. And so I was sitting up in bed, and I'd just like start like messaging people or downloading some posts or whatever. And then when I had a newborn, obviously all the time you're just sitting there, you can't move, feeding all day. And so I did that whole time. And then 4 or 5 months later, my business took off, because it was like all the work I was doing in that time. And you've probably been told this, like it'll show up 4, 5, whatever months later, but that consistently worked. I actually grew a global team in that time, because I was talking to people overseas who are awake in the middle of the night. Not that I'm saying stay up all night and talk on your phone. But like, you know, if you're someone who's like a night shift worker or something like that, and you are awake, there's obviously we can grow a team all over the world, and like you're not limited to New Zealand and Australia. So I just became a friend collector. That's probably been my biggest asset. I've known I'm like quite social. I can tell you I wasn't this person 7 years ago. I used to be way more shy. But my biggest thing is being a friend collector, and I suppose that goes in the follow-up. So all of my team, it's long-term conversations. I've never had a person who's like a random that I don't know, that you maybe have looked into it, but all my team is long-term conversations. Something she's on here tonight, but Carmen, who's just joined us, that was a conversation that started 7 years ago. And she used to do Isogenics, and we started talking about the products, and then I didn't talk to her for such a long time, but I've just always checked in on people. Hey, how are you going? And it's not like, hey, you ready to join Juice Plus yet? Hey, how are you going? What are you doing with your life? And then she just wanted to lose some weight, and she's lost like 12 kilos on our program, had amazing results, and she's come back and gone, hey, maybe I should look at that business now. So I think you just like don't ever ride people off. Always stay in touch, and that's just become a friend collector. Like, who are your people, and how can you help people? And I think if you think like that, it becomes not about, like, you've probably told this by lots of people, but like it's not about us. It's about like who can you help, and then the rewards will come back to you from that. So yeah, the time thing, I get it. Like, there's so many things in the world. There's like kids sports, you got work, you're trying to fit everything. But like Bridget said, that video is put your big rocks in first. Like for me, it's like, obviously, like for me, I need to go to the gym every day. I take my children, that's my self-care. I go and do boxing, I punch stuff, it makes me feel good, it gets my frustrations up for the day. But I do that, like that's my thing for myself, because I don't really get any time to myself either. And so that's my one thing that I do. And then like kids sports, we have a homeschooling group. Like I put all those things into the diary, and then it's finding the gaps that Bridget was saying. Like if it's in the morning, on your lunch break, in the evenings, that's when you do your Juice Plus business. But it has to be consistent. If you're not doing it every day, just even a little bit each day, it won't pay off. And I can tell you that from being here, from probably the one of the, like in New Zealand, I know me and Alex have been around for probably the longest, is that it's doing those little bits every day that will pay off. And I know over the years I've taken my foot off the pedal, and it showed. So it's like, but that's the beauty, you can come back. So don't be hard on yourself if you're like, oh my God, I haven't done anything this week. It's okay, start new, like start today and start doing. And if you're like, I actually don't know what I'm doing, because I know in the beginning, to be honest, we didn't have this amazing system we have now. I had no clue what I was doing. I was talking to people. I was probably a massive like spammer. Now I've got, if you don't know what to say, like, and this is the beauty of this, is that this isn't a job. You're not thrown in the deep end. Like, you have so many people, whether it's your upline or your team or your sideline buddies or whoever, who will always help you, and I think always ask for help. I still reach out to Adam. I have a group chat with Bridget and other girls who've been in, like, we feed off each other. Hey, I've got this conversation, this person, like, can you help me out? What do you think? So none of us ever have all the answers. It's always learning. So make sure you always reach out. So I went like fully off track, Bridge, but hopefully that covered lots of stuff.
No, it's awesome. Thank you so much. And I think, yeah, like the overall, thing here is that, like what we were talking about, make your business a priority, make it one of your rocks that you're putting into it every day. And the way that it's going to be making it a priority is coming back to the beginning and making sure that you know why you're here and your why is strong enough. And I know, Lacey, I saw you put a comment in before that say over the weekend you're thinking maybe my why isn't strong enough. And that's totally fine. I can give you some exercises and we can sit down and we can go over that together. I think sometimes also maybe we don't dream enough. Maybe we're just like thinking, oh, that's not possible. Like I've got the Maldives are on my vision board. It's been my dream to go to the Maldives forever, like before I even knew where the Maldives were. And then I never had put it on there because for me, it just seemed so unattainable because to start as the cost of staying there is freaking ridiculous, and the flights and everything. And then I saw Shani this year, or was it last year, went to the Maldives with her little boy and her partner, and she said that it's been on her vision board for, I can't remember, I think it's like almost 10 years, and she's just kept it there, and then it became true. So I think sometimes we don't dream enough, and we're just playing in this little small game, and then that why is not big enough, like $300 a month is not going to get you out of bed every day to work on this business. You need to have a bigger dream. So I think maybe if you don't have a why, do you not have a big enough dream? I think, don't be afraid to dream big and then chunk it out into small things. I feel like we've talked here so much tonight, but is there any like burning questions that someone wanted to ask before we jump off, or anything that just feel free to come off mute, or Alex, if you wanted to add anything.
I'll add in that was awesome. If no one else has any questions, if you've got a question, pop it in the chat. But thank you girls so much. It was awesome. Very wise advice and very practical.
I hope that helped. I was like, just felt like sharing that tonight. I don't know if it was relevant to where we are at this time of month, but before we go, I'll just let you know that I'm just going to say stop recording.